Okay, so I've been kind of puzzling a little bit on what I want to use as a overhead mount for my camera to be able to record things on the bench here. And I've been looking at all kinds of different things. I really think I want to go with something that's tripod attached. And I was kind of drawn to this on Amazon, but I really don't like the price. And there's a few things about it that I'm not a fan of. Number one is the block is not actually a hot shoe mount. I just think that something like this should have a hot shoe on the bottom, which there may be a bunch of different kinds, and that's not why they did it. But what I think I want to do is actually make one of these in the shop. It's really simple, and the few modifications that I'd like to make to it, I think that I can make easier than actually buying this and having to modify it. So I think this is going to end up being a multi-part series where the first part we'll kind of do general design and drawing on SolidWorks, and the second part will actually be the manufacturer, and then third part will probably actually be a video of me using it, or a project that I'm using it on, or maybe even a lab tour. We'll figure that out later. But let's go ahead and get started here. And the first thing I want to do is open a new assembly, and then it's going to prompt me to try to pull it apart. I don't want to do that. So what I want to do here is begin assembly. We'll just click check. We'll insert a new part. Now we're going to start with the block. Let's start with the front plane. I think we'll do that. And then we're going to sketch. Let's get normal to that. Alright, so let's go ahead and begin sketching this block. We're going to start off with a triangle. And the first thing that I'm going to do is I shouldn't have added construction lines. So we'll just delete those very quickly. And then we'll come in and do a basic overall dimensions. Let's do 3 inches tall and 2 inches wide. And I'm going to go with this 2 inches just kind of arbitrarily because we have Delrin that we use that is 2 inches by 2 inches, which is basically just a high density plastic, and I think it'll be perfect for this. Next we're going to put the circle that the rod's going to come through, and we want that to be in the middle. And I think what I'll do is add my own construction line horizontal to this, and we can change that size. There we go. And then we're going to hold control and click those and make that a midpoint line. And then let's add a height to that. Let's do 1 inch, I think. And then we'll add a dimension to this. 0.625, that's the same size rod that they actually use on the Amazon one. And now here, this is where I want to start my changes. I want to take and add a slot, because I don't, 1/8 is already set, that's perfect. I don't like how the set screw just comes from the middle and just binds against the rod. I want an actual clamping action here. So this 0.125 here actually represents the kerf cut, the width of the saw blade that we're going to be cutting this with. I think I'm just going to cut it on a bandsaw. It's going to be the easiest way to do this. And so whenever we actually put our rod through, there's going to be a bolt that's going to come through perpendicular this way that'll actually clamp against the rod, and it'll be a really much more elegant way to do that than instead of just a set screw. Alright, on the bottom here, I want to add some notches because I'm going to have a hot shoe. I'm going to make this a hot shoe mount just to make it a little bit easier for me to clamp and unclamp. I won't actually have to screw it to my hot shoe mount. It'll have its own. And that hot shoe mount, I believe, is a 60-degree angle here. And this is measured. And this is 0.375 deep. And then from here to here, I know my overall width is 1.7 inches, so we're going to divide that by 2. Alright, and there we have half of the hot shoe. Okay, it's angry because it thinks that this should be a midpoint, but it shouldn't be. So let's delete that. Come on, you. In fact, let's just control and make that coincidence. There we go. That is better. So now we're going to use this line just to mirror these two entities. Come on, there we go. And then we'll trim these, and you'll notice the sketch is going to go undefined. That's okay. Everything is properly dimensioned, so we can just control, click origin, and we'll make that coincide. And there we have it. SolidWorks is very particular about those kinds of things. Most of the fixes are very simple, but you do have to know them. One of the reasons that I absolutely hate SolidWorks. Okay, so I think that this will do for our cross section. Let's go ahead and extrude that. And we'll extrude it into a 2-inch piece. That looks very good. Let's go ahead and also call out a material on this. I think that I have, yep, Delrin. And we're going to be using a black Delrin. Is it a low gloss? I would think it would be a low gloss. We're using black, but let's go with dark gray because I find that dark gray actually looks better in SolidWorks. It gives it a little bit more definition. Okay, so that's looking very good. Let's go ahead and turn to this face here. And let's not start a sketch. We'll actually start a feature of an extruded cut here. Alright, so we're automatically in a sketch. Let's start off center here. Actually, let's kind of go off center just in a crazy place. And let's add a line all the way across. Convert that to construction. Find the midpoint of this line and the center of this circle. Hold down control whenever clicking. And there we have it. Okay. This diameter is going to be 0.20 because yeah, because we will end up tapping this later. Okay. And now we need to know where to bring this up to. So I wonder if SolidWorks will allow me to do this crazy maneuver. There should be a midpoint on this line. There it is. Okay. And this point here, we can make them coincide. That's perfect. So now we know that this hole is going to go through the exact middle of this section, which is actually a little bit lower than I want. But I still think it'll work out really well. So, you know, no harm, no foul. We're not building a rocket ship. We're barely building a Timex. And so let's complete this hot shoe mount now. Let's put a construction line down the middle. This will be the mirror. And let's draw a little triangle. And you'll notice that this line is fully defined, this line is defined this way. So all we need to do here is add that angle, which is 60 degrees. And there we have a fully defined something doesn't seem right about it though, does it? 50 looks much better. I may have to go back and look and see what happened there. Okay, let's go ahead and mirror. Sometimes I like to do my mirror about first. I wish it would default to that actually, because then I can watch things happen. Okay. And let's exit sketch. It'll bring us automatically into our cut extrude feature. We can stay blind and 2-inch, but I think I want to do through all. And that's very nice. That is a little hot shoe mount here. This hole on this side anyways will be drilled and tapped. And we'll come back and actually do another cut extrude and open this one up. So let's do that. Same thing, let's click on this face, cut extrude. We'll open this one up and let's dimension this one to just slightly above a 1/4 inch. Let's do 9/32, which is 2821. 2812, a little moment there. And let's exit sketch, cut extrude, and this time we're gonna do up to neck. Okay, so we can see in the preview that that's only gonna go through this one section. And now let's go to features, and we'll add a thread to this whole. I think right now we're just gonna make this a thread. 1/4-20, where's my 1/4-20 at? Perfect. I'm not sure what this measurement is. Let's just add a little until we get to where we want to be at about. Okay, now we also want to offset. And we want to reverse offset. This is one thing I don't like about SolidWorks, is why it automatically offsets into the hole. Okay, let's just double check and make sure that the thread is going to stick out. Let's go to 0.04, a little bit cleaner number, and make sure that we're not going to bite into that. That looks great. Okay. Let's add some fillets here. I think we can just add, no, we can't add to the face because I don't want it to add that way. See, that's why I don't want to do the face. This is going to be a 1/4 inch because we're going to do it with a router bit. It looks like it's going to be really close, but that's actually not going to matter. It does eat into that a little tiny bit, but I think that that'll be okay also. And actually, you know what we can do to fix this? Let's go back into our initial sketch and let's make this 1.125. And that should fix all of that. Exit sketch. Yeah, that looks much better. We're going to add a little drilled and tapped hole here to put our that midpoint at. There it is. Just in case we ever want to mount it to, say, something standard that's not a hot shoe, this will be the easiest way to do that, is to just drill and tap a little hole here. Control and coincide. Smart dimension this as 0.20. Perfect. And exit sketch. We don't want to go that deep, although we could just go all the way through. Let's just make this 0.75, should be plenty of depth. And let's add some threads. offset, flip offset, and let's just make this 0.625. That looks perfect. So let's go into, let's put this in matte stuff, camera boom. I've already got a little folder made for it. And then we'll call this camera boom assembly. Perfect. Okay, and we'll name this, rename this part as I always type stuff backwards for some reason. And let's go ahead and save all this. Save it. We'll save it internally, just to keep it a little bit simpler. We should never have to take this part and move it somewhere else. I think we will need to create an axis and a cylindrical face. Perfect. And let's create a plane. What I should have done, honestly, guys, is to make my origin the middle of this hole, but, you know, didn't do it. And let's make it perpendicular to the top plane. That's perfect. I like that a lot. Okay. So now we'll insert a new part on a plane 1. Have to edit this component. Where did my tree go for plane? Where's my plane 1? There it is. Sketch. And we're just gonna start with a line. And we're gonna make that line, I don't know, guys, what do you think a good boom length would be? 30 inches? Let's see what the other one is. 33. Okay. Yeah, so let's do 30. Nah, let's stick with 30. I think 30 will be plenty long enough. Okay. And now, it kind of moved it out of where we want it to, but I think we can make it collinear with that axis, so that's perfect. I don't want to define it any further than this, because now what I want to do what's your problem now? Let's add a material. Oh, yeah. Let's highlight this sketch, add structural member. I should have some round rod in here. And let's see if I have 5/8. Yes, I do. And this is going to be our only group. And that is perfect. Alright, so I think what we want to do now here is actually go to mates. And you can see this in place mate. Actually, you know what? Let's not do that, because that's that main block being fixed in place. Let's go here. And part 2 is not fixed. There we go. So you can see how this kind of floats out in the middle of nowhere, wherever we want to put it at. And let's go ahead and mate this. And let's not, we could do a concentric mate, but I think what I'd like to do is actually mate this axis with this sketch line. It will work a lot cleaner that way. So let's make sure that that axis is showing. Or actually we can just select this axis, select mate, and select this sketch. And it'll automatically be coincidence, and that's perfect. Alright, so now we can grab this and we can slide it in and out. Very nice. I like it. Alright, so that's all we're going to do for mate right now. I want to get in here. Let's get back into this sketch and see if we can fully define where this is going to go. It should allow us to just dimension it here. Actually, we should be able to find its own origin. Click the origin, and they should be vertical from each other. Yeah. Okay, so that's good. That's fully defined. That should be what we were looking for. Let's exit that sketch. And now another thing that I want to do differently that I didn't like on the model that we can buy. We'll need the top plane for this, and we'll make that later. Is that I really want normal 2, so we're actually looking at something. I want to be able to pivot my camera. And it's very hard to, it's impossible to do that with that other model. So what I'm thinking we'll do here is actually cut a little notch out of this, and then we'll drill and tap another hole here. That actually is not going to work on that plane. Let's delete that sketch. We should have a plane that is directly, that'll work. The front plane will work. Although we could just do this also. So on this face, we're going to do an extruded cut. Could also do convert entities, but I like this better. And we'll trim this side off. We'll make those equal. And let's put this a 1/16 away from there, and let's also, I think I have to make it vertical. That's good enough. Alright. And let's extrude that. 1.5 inches should be plenty. Alright, so now we have a nice flat face here. But what I want to do here is not open a sketch. Features. On this plane. And we'll go with another 1/4 here. So 0.20. And we have 1.5 inches there, but I think we'll just go a 1/2 inch to give us, you know, roughly 1 inch. Well, exactly 1 inch from here to here, which should be plenty. Now let's exit sketch. And we'll go up to next. Perfect. And we'll add another thread. Plenty good. And let's add a little fillet here. Smaller than that. Much better. I think that is going to be a nice look. Alright, so my idea is that on this flat face, what we'll have is a piece of angle, if we look at it from the top, that's going to come out and over this way, and then the camera is actually going to mount on the part that's right here, and then that will allow this face to grip and clamp that part to where it can't pivot whenever I tighten it down, but will allow it to pivot to level off. What I'd like to do now, and it's actually not going to be practical whenever it's actually built, is to actually mate these two faces as parallel, just to make things a little simpler in the assembly. Of course, in real life we'll be able to spin it around, but in this form, in SolidWorks right now, this is going to be a little bit more convenient for me. Sorry if you're getting seasick from all the motion. I'll tell you what, I think I'm going to create a plane that is coincidence with this face. Because whenever I add my angle, which is going to be a new part on plane 2, let's make sure that we're in. I don't know why, but it seems like it used to always click right into editing and let me go start editing. Let's start a sketch on plane 2. And all we're going to need here is a line. And let's make that, hang on, let me measure this hot shoe real quick and see kind of what it uses to mount the camera. 2 1/4 by 3 inch. So let's make this 2.25. And it's not very happy about that now, is it? So let's try to define that a little better. Wherever the origin is for you. It's not going to be happy, but we'll move it around later. Weldments. Wait a minute. Always exit sketch. Then go into your weldments. Structural member. Angle iron. I'm probably gonna have 2 by 2 by 3/16 in stock. So it's gonna be, that's why I'm gonna choose that one. And let's just check and see where we're at. I do like that. Let's add material, 6061 aluminum. Just about all of our extrusions are 6061 aluminum. Alright, let's get out of this component for a minute. As you can see here, it won't let me move it. So we can float it. And there we go. Now we can do something with it. And let's mate these two faces before we go any further. Okay. Now, what we want to do is add a hole here. So let's come right here and first of all, let's edit this component. Click on this face. Once again, extruded cut. Circle. And we'll just make it coincide with that. We won't make it actually the midpoint like we've been kind of having a habit of doing. Let's make this no, I don't like that. I want to go a little bit more. It's still kind of low. Very nice. Actually, no, this one needs to be 2812. Okay. And we'll just do up to next. Perfect. Let's add some fillets here. And I don't want it to be a fillet like that. I want to turn off tangent propagation. And we can see that it's actually adding a nice little round there, and we want to make that. Let's see what 0.75 looks like. Doesn't seem to like it. Let's see what it does. Oh, that's good. Okay, now let's go ahead and get out of this component. And let's do something that I should have done before. Let's go into our rod and our cut extrude, and we want to show this little sketch here, because we're going to use this in a mate. And this mate, to be precise. It's concentric. And now we can, well, we should probably fix that rod in place. But now you can see that we can see how much we can tilt our camera angle. That looks very good. I think that'll be plenty. If need be, we can go and make these fillets a little bit deeper. In fact, let's go ahead and do that. Edit feature. And I know you're not happy right now. Can't be that. Let's do 0.875. Check. Why did you get very unhappy with me all of a sudden? Could not find in face for feature. Oh, I see what happened. It wasn't very happy about that. Okay, so let's control and make those parallel. And let's delete this horizontal, because that's what it's attempting to keep happening. And let's flip that dimension. And then let's go ahead and make you and you. Let's merge those two. Excellent. And now we should be good. There we go. Much better. Alright, so let's go ahead and add. Let's edit this component. And we'll add a hole here. Oh, hang on. You won't give me the normal 2 right now, will you? And this is going to be for the bolt for the camera. Now, one thing I haven't really figured out yet, the way that how I would like to do this, is how am I going to make the bolt captive in this hole. I haven't figured it out exactly yet, but I'm sure it'll come to me. So that is just about it. Oh, you know what? There is one more thing that I want to add. I am going to actually drill and tap the end of this rod. And I'm doing this because I want a way to hang counterweight off of here. And I think the easiest thing for me to do is to actually have a little bolt that sticks out a little bit that I can wrap a wire on with a weight or whatever works out best. Alright, let's go ahead and throw a thread right here. See, every time SolidWorks is going to make me do this. Why wouldn't you remember from last time what I wanted? There's a lot of pet peeves about SolidWorks that I have that it bugs me so much. Let's also go ahead and take this fillet and put it here. That'll work. Okay, edit. Alright, so I'm not going to drop fasteners in here simply because it's not going to help me any to do it. Maybe I'll cover that another day. But this is pretty much going to be it. You know, this is the basic idea of what my overhead boom is going to look like. So I think what I'll do is I'll have my material cut. I'm just going to have them cut my blanks out for me at the shop because it's easier for them to do it than for me to try to get it done by myself. So we'll have a piece of angle cut, a rod, and a little block of Darwin to work with. So that's it for this time, guys. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you for the next installment of this project.